Correct. There's a couple of issues. I think Judge Johnson wanted to know why there was a mistrial, and also it came to light that there was a recording of Your Honor.
Yes.
So he set it for today, and we are here.
Mr. Smith, did you record something in a district court?
I did not.
You did not?
No.
Who did?
I don't know.
I understand that you have a printout or a typed version of what was recorded. Did you record it?
No, I didn't. Someone give it to me.
Well, I'm tell you, if you have one recording device that's sanctioned by the court, this is not a court record for them, you cannot record anything in a district court at all. The only recording is this recording right here. So if you have a copy of a recording that's recorded in this report, it needs to be deleted by or destroyed in some way or manner, because that's just not what we do. So whatever that is, you need to get rid of it. There's no recording in any district courts except for the official report.
Okay, it wasn't on the record.
Well, I can't help that then. So you need to get rid of that. Bottom line is, we mistried it because, I think, because you have an attorney that is Ms. Hill.
Ms. Adam Bull, and then Ms. Hill, and then back to Adam Bull.
Right, and then you got Mr. Bull, and it's been like over a year or something, and that was.
I was telling you I was doing.
Okay. That's a recording of court. You want to know why? Because we don't trust you. Because you said that it was a mistrial in open court, and somehow it didn't get on the public record. And then y'all get really upset with Allan for having the recording. And you even admit, Kim Gasperson Justice, it's not a court of record, it's a district court. And when Allan tells you that it didn't get on the record, you're like, well, that's not my job, or something to that effect. Let's hear an audio of me and you talking when you were the high clerk.
I was telling you I was doing it out of respect because I wish for you to know that we're not trying to war. You know, like, we're not trying to fight with anybody. We're just coming in here and trying to separate right from wrong. That's all we're trying to do.
And all we are the keeper of the records. We don't. We don't set those dates.
I know that y'all are
like
just
you're
the
supposed
keeper
to
of
keep
the records, and
recording.
I'm telling you that this is just historically, 150 years ago, if I had a problem, I would go down to the courthouse and I would speak with the clerk of court and I would give them some paperwork and they would summons the judge and they would summons a clerk and they would convene court. They would give me a summons to go hand to the sheriff, and if the man didn't come down, then I could get a warrant and hand it to the sheriff, and it'd be the clerk's job to sign the warrant after the judge had witnessed that the man didn't appear, and I would hand that to the sheriff, and the sheriff would go and drag him in before my court so that I could say, that man did me wrong, and this is your last time to say your piece, otherwise I'm going to move for a final judgment.
Yeah, there's all kinds of general statutes now, as you probably know, North Carolina general statutes.
No, I don't know anything about statutes.
Okay, well, the legislature meets, our legislature, our state legislature meets, and they create all these laws that tell you
They
exactly.
create statutes,
Right.
what you just said. And the word statute comes from the word statue because back in Roman times, statues, like people would worship statues and these gods would say you can't do this and you can't do that. And that's how the authoritarian structure kept people in line. Today, they just add one T to that word, and instead of, worshiping an idolatry god, right, now it's a statute that's created by the state, but the state's not God. Like this very wise man said back in about 1600 or something, he said, hey, look, when the British Parliament can order the sun not to come up and the sun doesn't rise, I'll follow their law. Other than that, there's this higher law.
Well, I'm not an expert in all that, and you know much more history than I know. I just know that what we're required to do and what we can do, and when my assistant clerk told you about the 9 o'clock, that's because that's the.
Did you hear what she just said? That's the high clerk of the Henderson County Courthouse at the time. This audio was made almost 4 years ago. And she said she didn't know much about what I was talking about, which is law. She knew a whole lot about statutes and statutes. She says on this recording, here's my interpretation. I don't know as much about law and history as a high school dropout who went down to a law library. But notice, she didn't say I was wrong.
Clerk told you about the 9 o'clock. That's because that's the only time that the chief district court judges said that we're supposed to take those files up there.
Yeah, and I'm.
Dude, what happened with that money?
Alright, check that out. When she's a judge, it's not her problem. She's blaming it on the clerks. And when she's the high clerk, it's not her problem because she's blaming it on the judges. You see the circle jerk going on here? And, well, I have everybody's attention. Please stay tuned. Go join the Telegram, the Facebook. Go join one of these communities. Angela Freiner has court tomorrow, I believe. We all have to watch it because you're about to see how criminal court can be. You just saw how Tamara and Kim were working against Allan. Mistrial. Oh no, not mistrial. Oh no, we don't have the record. But now that we know you have the recording, now we'll say it was a mistrial. And we'll just do it all over again. Because we're such honorable, believable people that you should never record us. But don't worry about us spying on you with the NSA and censoring the internet and YouTube and social media. It's all for your protection. A lot of people have been asking me lately to help them save their children and their children's rights, you know, because of the whole mask thing, school, COVID. Let me tell you something. You can't give your children something you don't have. If you don't have rights, you can't give them to your children. Go get your rights back. Then you can give them to your children.
I found out in 2019 that all of the account funds had been moved through an internal transaction to a single bank account that I did not have access to and could no longer get information about. There was no funds available in the joint equity line.
And that was after you signed the separation?
Correct.
Did you use that money out?
No.
Who was the only two people who had access to that from equity?
Allan and myself. Our mortgage.
Well, that almost sounds criminal. That almost sounds like Allan's breaking a fiduciary duty. You know? Sounds like he's siphoning money out of an account. I couldn't help Allan if he did that. This looks bad.
Our mortgage lender was the one who had given me what information I was able to obtain about where the money went, up to which account it went to, which I was not allowed to access.
And what date was did you receive notice of that?
I found out in June 2019 when I called trying to obtain a small amount of funds to make our children's daycare payment, and Allan had refused to give me any assistance because I had at that point stopped making payments toward the dump truck after obtaining legal advice.
And the letter, or is that a fair and accurate copy of the letter that you received?
Yes.
Have you changed it in any way?
No.
But this time around, like, it may change it. Oh, she didn't. I'm so sorry.
Objection, Mr. Smith. That is not our financial advisor or our loan officers. Random signature. This purpose for which is, you know,
Yeah, just with based off of what, she did ask in regards to, receiving this letter, which would have been contacting the bank, trying to figure out where the money was, especially considering after it was done after the separation of things.
it meant for the limited purpose of the basis upon which she did certain other acts, but not for the truth of the matter asserted. Yes, you may.
In plaintiff's B, the separation agreement, there were some items listed regarding grandparent visitation and grandparent rights, correct?
Huh? That seems awfully strange. You know, Tamara, Katie's attorney, is making it sound like Allan's breaking the law. And Katie says, well, he didn't pay because I quit participating in a contract that I signed because I'm presuming Tamara told her to, because she said she got legal advice. So, whoever gave her legal advice told her to quit participating in this contract that she had already signed. And, you know, I don't necessarily agree that she should have been paying for half of the dump truck, but she signed the contract. She's an adult. She can make an agreement. One of our most sacred rights is our unlimited ability to contract. And then, when Tamara wishes to put the documentation from the bank upon the record, Allan objects because he doesn't know who it is or where it comes from. You heard it. Gene Johnson, who I believe is an honorable man who wishes to uphold law, but he's in a courthouse that I've seen a lot of law get broken in, allows her to put it on the record for a limited purpose. I'll give you a little bit of leeway. Let's see where you're going with this. And then she completely changes the subject to parental grandparent rights, which is in the contract. She talks about how that's not upheld in North Carolina. Contracts are upheld in law. I hate to tell you. Contracts are upheld in law. And it's the contract of the government to itself called the Constitution that says they can't violate your right to privately contract and the duties and obligations of those contracts. So this entire hearing, in my mind, in law, is bogus. There's no foundation. They have absolutely no elements. They're wasting everybody's time. And it appears to me, it just looks like it could be, maybe, possibly, fraudulent. I don't know. I'm not an attorney. But Kim Gasperson Justice did say I knew more about law and history than she did.
I'm not trying to pay you the equity that you have in the marital home.
No, you have not refinanced the home, nor had me come to state employees to do any refinancing documentation or legally rescind what is mine from the marital home.
So I'm not trying to get you to file any kind of complaint.
You suggested it, and I discussed it with my attorney and continued with the legal course of action that has taken place since then.
I have a checkbook with me now. If you accept payment now, it's not also I'm able to put all liability in my name as a separation agreement stipulation.
I have a draft now.
I would need to further consult with my attorney.
You see that right there? That's why I believe Gene Johnson is a lawful and honorable man. Because Tamara objected to the question. Okay? Allan goes, to settle this matter of possibly, mistakenly, me breaking some sort of fiduciary duty to you, how about I just pay you off right now, transfer all the liability into my name, and we'll be square. We'll be good. Just like the contract we both signed stipulates. Nope. I gotta get legal advice from my attorney who's telling me not to uphold the contract that I signed with you, who's telling me not to be civil, because we're following this legal course of action now that's wasting everybody's time, in my opinion. And all this stuff is just my interpretation of what's going on from being a witness and listening to the audio of the court. This is me presenting my case for how lawful your courts are. And if you don't take them back, they're coming for your property tomorrow. They threw Angela Freiner in jail to send her daughter with a child molester. She verified in open court he molested her, and they threw her mom in jail so that they could force her to go with her dad, and she still wouldn't go. And to the best of my knowledge, if they lock Angela up, I am coming out with everything I have. Because the only reason I haven't expounded on the story is because I'm afraid that if I expose that story anymore, that they will just lock her up and nobody will do anything about it.
I would need to further consult with my attorney.
That I have $240,000 in equity. Once broken down to roughly $180,000 in the home loan debt, $35,000 in the second, or in the equity line, second mortgage. That would bring that number down to $25,000 in equity, not $240,000, correct?
As it is right now, and I apologize if I'm not understanding all of your numbers without having the same information to look at as you and doing the numbers in my head. The house is still a joint asset. However, I left the marital home, and the postnuptial that is still in place and in question today about being set aside would make that an asset primarily of yours and not mine, which would be a $180,000 asset unless I'm missing something.
Well, it's not an asset. It's a property. We're not dead, we don't have assets.
Sustain, you can ask a question, not testify, just point and tell.
See? Here again, I believe Gene Johnson to be a fair and honest and lawful man. because he's held Tamara back several times. And when Allan says, yeah, it's not an asset, it's a debt, Gene Johnson says, hey, that's not a question. You're not testifying. We can't put that on the record. Sustained. And Tamara didn't even have to ask him to do it. That's why I believe he's a fair and honest man. A lawful gentleman. And Katie, I mean, I'm just really, really worried about our educational system if she can't add 180 plus 35 and get 215 and subtract that from 240 to come up with the fact that Allan is getting less assets than she is in the separation agreement that she helped him write and come up with. It seems like pretty simple math to me. I'm pretty sure my little man in training could do that in his head. But I might be a better parent than the average bear. Who knows?
Have I ever threatened or actually physically chosen to withhold the children from Katie over a period of time?
Okay, so right here, he is questioning Katie's friend. I don't remember her name, but it was the only other witness they had. And he's questioning her. He's like, you remember any time when I withheld the children from Katie? Any time.
And I guess my question is, after the separation agreement, before the post-nuptial?
What's the relevant time period?
After we separated, anytime after we separated.
Not that I know of.
And do you have any knowledge that Katie has done the same to me twice?
Yes, she has on the advice of her attorney.
Boom! Katie's friend, Katie's witness, Tamara's witness for Tamara's case. Hey, do you have any first-hand knowledge? Because I'm just going to let y'all know. I am only pointing out the slam dunk stuff. This is so insane that this is even still going on. I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless. I don't think it's Gene Johnson's fault. I just think the courthouse is lawless. I mean, they arrested me for helping an 87-year-old man stand up and say she's not my attorney. 3 years ago, over 3 years ago. Couldn't produce any paperwork. I made a YouTube video all about it. If I'm lying, come sue me. I would love for you to come sue me so I can put some facts upon the record of a court. If we could ever find a court of law. Yeah, I know. So Katie's friend says, yeah, I know that Katie withheld the children from you twice at the direction of her attorney. Huh. And before Allan met me, he had paid attorney tens of thousands of dollars to get him in this much trouble. And now that he's moving in law, they won't just uphold the law.
One more question. When the DSS investigation started last year in June, did you not withhold the children from me on Father's Day weekend when they had a forensic exam scheduled on Monday that I could have done on Friday? if I had known.
Okay, he is back to questioning Katie. Just to reiterate, last year during the DSS investigation, did you not withhold the children from me on Father's Day weekend when I could have had them forensically examined on Friday? Did you do that or not? Let's hear.
If I had known where the children were.
Jim said when the DSS examiner on Monday, that was given by DSS as a night attorney, and other night attorneys' recommendation and advice, as well as the concern that the accusing party from the DSS investigation was your mother, which she admitted openly in court under her testimony. I did not feel that it was in either Lucas or Sarah's best interest, nor my own as the accused party, for the children to be in your custody throughout the weekend prior to the forensic exam.
I'm getting investigated by the DSS. Your mom is the one who is the accuser, and my attorney gave me the advice to violate a court order and the law and withhold your offspring from you on Father's Day weekend. I don't see any probable cause here. None at all. I'm sure everything's on the up and up. I'm sure everybody who withholds their children withholds the evidence until it can disappear has a wonderful and lawful reason to do that. I'm sure. And remember my last video, they're trying to put Allan in jail because he allows Mima, Nika, to see the children she was trying to protect.
They say that the neutral party is being my mother, and they were not with me.
So you knew within a matter of a few days who the accusing party was, correct?
Yes, I did. By a text message that I was sent by the accusing party.
And did you withhold information when I asked you where the children were?
No, I did not. I told you to contact your attorney.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I personally would consider that perjury. Did you withhold information from me when I contacted you about where the children were? No, I did not withhold information from you. I told you to contact your attorney. Well, you didn't tell me where my little man and little woman in training were. That's a fact. Out of your own mouth. But, hey everybody, we can trust the government to uphold law in a courtroom. Do you know why we have juries? Because we don't trust government here in America. The whole idea of juries.
Testimony? Yes. Yes. Conductor? Witness stand. Witness. Feeling the obligation to tell the truth, so we're trying to give you a full opportunity to present your case.
The only thing I can wish to expand on is the 2 pages in Exhibit A. The 1 page that has my signature is clearly not my signature, and I do not know.
Hold on just a second. Which page are you talking about? Which exhibit?
Exhibit A,
I want to be clear on
the attorney acknowledgement page, I believe.
specifically A1.
You would identify which page you're speaking.
The Certificate of Independent Legal Advice page.
What number on the page is it? A1, A2, A3?
Looks like DA1.
Now, what is your testimony regarding page A1?
I do not know where page A1 and A2, sorry, came from, but this is not my signature.
The parties were married. There was a history.
So Gene Johnson the man I have respect for, says, "Hey Allan, you can present anything you wish to present, any evidence you wish to have, appear on the record of the court, now's your chance." And Allan's like, "Nah, honestly, I don't have anything better to offer than the evidence that they put on the record. So I'm going to use that evidence that they placed upon the record and swear under oath and affirmation and under the pains and penalty of perjury that I did not sign that document that has nobody else's signature on it, no notary on it, nothing." But yet, the courthouse and Emily Cohen and Tamara Lee can issue an unverified affidavit. The court's going to accept it as an affidavit, just make some BS up, and drag Allan into court the day before he's got to bury his grandfather. And if you don't uphold the law, you tell me who's going to. Please let me know. Because I think Gene Johnson really wants to. I believe that in my heart.
The parties were married. There was a history of manipulation and control that was testified to by Ms. Smith, as well as...
This is the closing argument. Okay, and she's talking about what's testified to by Ms. Smith. I was there. I was watching it. I saw that testimony get torn apart by cross-examination. Just my opinion. It's not a fact upon a record of any court.
Ms. Smith, as well as from her friend Heather, and that Mr. Allan was...
Oh yeah, I saw Heather's testimony get torn apart too. I loved it. The first question Allan asked, "Do you have any first-hand knowledge of the facts that you just testified to?" Oh, it was awesome. But she knew 100% that Allan had not kept the kids from Katie, and that Katie had, at the direction of her attorney, kept them from Allan twice. And one time while being investigated by the DSS.
That Mr. Allan was the one who would be making the decisions. That she said, "I don't want to sign this. I don't want to sign this postnuptial agreement." And they would argue about it. And apparently he, according to Ms. Smith, broke her down enough to get her to sign the postnuptial agreement, as well as the separation agreement, by threatening to take the children away from her. Had been that he would do anything that he could to keep her away from the kids. And he did just that, Your Honor. He tried to follow through with alleging that Miss Smith was sexually abusing her children and provided a report.
Holy cow! The bomb just dropped. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. But I'll tell you this. I know Nika. And Nika cares for everybody. I know Nika because she came up with me and Joni Oracle to Tennessee to help Philip Kemp out, a man she did not even know, because she is that caring and loving and nurturing. From what I heard, the children trusting Nika made accusations of sexual molestation. And then Katie kept the children on her attorney's advice from Allan on Father's Day weekend. And if you follow this law more than the law of the Heavenly Father, the Creator, I'm going to tell you right now, you are going to hell in a handbasket. And you might just drag the rest of us with you.
Alleging that Miss Smith was sexually abusing her children and provided a report in order to keep the children away from her and was looking to go get the kids, which has been completely unsubstantiated. Giving her, the wife, more money.
The DSS allegations were completely unsubstantiated because we couldn't get the evidence to prove to the court, because Tamra Lee advised her client to keep the evidence for some unknown reason that she wishes to blame on Nika. Oh, and by the way, we're trying to take your property. We're trying to claim that $180,000, $220,000 of debt is actually assets and take half of it from you and leave you with the whole debt. Do you really have to be a judicial officer to see how lawless this is? Do you really have to be a police officer to investigate a crime? Really?
Giving her, the wife, more money or more of a division in regards to the...
That's what it's all about. More money. More money. More money.
In regards to the marital estate. The fact that he had family land, that's certainly a factor in determining whether or not that these people would be able to sustain after they have separated. Your Honor, I would ask that you set aside both the postnuptial agreement as well as the separation agreement at this time, based off of the evidence that has been presented here today. Thank you.
Once again, there's not $220,000 in equity. There is approximately $25,000 in equity that I have. They say Kathleen left with $36,000 in equity.
Your Honor,
I was left with debt and not equity in the property, which is not assets yet. We both testified that as adults, we work on the separation agreement together. Katie actually wrote the rough draft out by hand. I plugged it into the template.
Your Honor, I'd object at this point, and if I don't have an opportunity to ask questions about this, this is, I don't believe that was, Your Honor.
They worked on it? Yes.
In regards to,
She typed it up. They worked on it together, and words came out of her mind.
I believe he just testified and said that she wrote it by hand and
I
then,
don't look at the test.
okay.
Tamara says, we'd like to ask that you set aside those private contracts that the government has no authority to interfere with. We ask that you rob him of his family property by all the evidence that's shown. And then Allan saying, we both testified that we worked on that contract together, mutual consent. And Tamara says, no, that wasn't the testimony. Even Gene Johnson goes, yes, it was. I heard it. I'm the judicial officer. It is my job to listen to the entire trial, pay attention, do judicial due diligence. Yes, I heard your client say that she wrote out the contract with him. And one of Tamara's other arguments, in my opinion, was basically that Katie was incompetent to enter into a contract. Well, if you are incompetent to enter into a contract for yourself, you do not need to have the legal authority to enter your children into contracts. I could be a moron. I did drop out of high school and just went down to a law library to figure this stuff out. Thank you, everybody, for paying attention, spreading this. Don't trust the numbers on YouTube, but I'm telling you, if we don't get this off the internet, we're all dead in the water. And if you're expecting the government to uphold law, just go check out my YouTube channel. Just go check it out this year. Where in Kansas, the state steals children. I call them out for issuing a bogus warrant. How in St. Louis, Missouri, what they did, how they were getting sued. 31 judges recused themselves. A judge was caught in an email saying he would take care of it and smooth it over. He did, because now the lawsuit's been dismissed. Philip Kemp gets arrested taking his children camping in Tennessee. Are you seeing a pattern here yet? Sheila, I would really like to thank you for the opportunity that you have given me. And for the We the People and ROAR, the organizations that you're a part of, I just wish for all of the people that you associate with, that you break bread with, that you worship with, to know that if they're doing this to your family, Sheila, if they're threatening your family property in open court, this blatantly wrong, and everybody lets them get away with it, they're coming for the rest of their properties next. Tamara Lee at the end of that, when she said, "Oh no, my client didn't testify working with him on the contracts." And Jean Johnson says, "Yes, he did. Yes, she did. She lied to the court, just like Greg Newman. And the reason we're in this problem right now is because apparently it's taboo to talk about criminals like Greg Newman committing criminal activity. And if you think I'm slanderous or defaming your character, come sue me. Let's play this game. And for all you who support Greg Newman, what you gonna say when he doesn't come sue me? Because I'm a man, and unlike Kim Gasperson Justice, who says this is not a court of record, I carry a court of record everywhere I go. And I wish to teach you how to do the same. But if you don't help me uphold the law, nobody's gonna do it. I've been trying for years. And if I haven't proved it to you by now, you are blind and cannot hear. Matthew 13:13. Therefore I speak to them in parables, because seeing they see not, hearing they hear not, nor do they understand. We are just conspiracy, and we just wish to conspire with other good people of this planet to leave a better world for future generations than the world we grew up in. But if we wish to leave our children rights, we have to get them back first. One world, love, and peace.